can also check those all out and watch them at your leisure. You can also check these all out on YouTube. So if you go to the Seven Lines YouTube platform, that's probably, I think, the best way to watch like post recorded ones. That way you can watch it on your smart TV, you can watch it on your Roku, Apple TV, and you can watch it in all of its 4K glory on your television. Awesome. So like I said, I wanted to thank everyone that's shown up before. So episode 5. So back to episode 4. Oh, there's my dog. So episode 4, I want to say thank you for everyone coming through. And I really, really loved your drawings. There were so many people that joined us, and we saw really some great entries and things such like that. So I want to give a big shout out and a big thank you. And we're giving out 3 $10 gift cards for some of the drawings that we liked that we saw in our comment section. So those go out to the Yellens family. We have at Esther Itas on Instagram and Emily from Facebook. So thank you guys so much. So there's a $10 gift card for the 7 Line coming your way. Feel free to spend that and enjoy it. Great. So that's enough of me talking. You guys want to draw? Yeah. Great, me too. Oh man, so let's talk about what we're gonna need today. So the supplies are up to you. I recommend something fun, crayons, markers, pencils, pens, anything you want to do right there. The sky is the limit with there. So I'm going to be using just a generic 8.5 by 11 printer paper. Ooh. Just a regular sheet of paper right there. Nothing too crazy. So you can pull that right out of your printer. So those are going to be the main supplies that we're going to be using. And then today, let's take a look at what we're going to be drawing. So today we're going to be drawing Mr. Met driving a bullpen cart, which is pretty meta if you think about it, Mr. Met driving a baseball-shaped car. But we'll save that debate for another time. So the reason I chose this is if you know me for a minute, I love bullpen carts. I think they are amazing. There's a little bit of history. They were briefly used back in the day, and the idea was to bring the bullpen pitcher in for the rest of the game to come through. They would drive around the warning track and such. So at Citi Field, they definitely used one in the 60s. There's a really awesome photo you should Google. It is of Pete Flynn, the old groundskeeper at Shea Stadium, and he's driving Paul McCartney and the Beatles into to play at the concert back in '65, which I thought was really cool. Nowadays, I know the Mets do have a bullpen cart. I don't know if it's ever been used in an actual game, but you can definitely check it out. At least last season in the bullpen gate entrance, it's like on the left-hand side when you walk in. It's a really cool little, little option to take a photo op on there. Great. Okay, cool. So enough about that. Let's get to drawing. So this is what we're going to be drawing today. Don't worry if it looks a little crazy. I'm going to walk you through step by step, and we're going to build this bullpen cart and our Mr. Met out together. Sound good? All righty. So like I said, we're going to start with our pencil, our paper and pencil and paper and all that. So let me get there. I'm going to be using my brush pen that I love so much. So just so you guys know a little lay of the land what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to draw out the whole drawing first in ink, and I'm going to be filling out some spots and filling it in with black and stuff. Now, you don't have to do that while I'm drawing. That's up to you. I just do it so you guys can see it clearly on the camera. But at the end of this, what we'll do is let's color in together and we'll have some discussion. Sound good? All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw Mr. Met's hat. So basically, I'm going to start on this side of the drawing, on the left-hand part of my paper, and I'm going to build over to the right. So basically, like right here, on there. So if you've joined my other classes, you're going to kind of see a pattern here of how I draw my hats and stuff. So if you're already ahead of the curve, if not, let's do it together. Cool. So over here on my left-hand side of the drawing, I'm going to kind of go up to like halfway and then go up a little bit more. So like right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw this like squiggly line. Just something like that. And this is the same thing we've drawn for all of our other Mr. Met hats too. Great. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come around. That's the inside of the brim of the hat, the part of your hat that protects your eyes from the sun. I'm going to come on the outside and build the rest of that. And how I do that, I'm going to start at this point of that line, and I'm just going to come around I'm going to make a pointed shape like that. And then I'm going to come around just like this. So we have this little fun little shape right there. And again, that is the brim of our hat. Great. All right. So let's circle back now and let's build out the rest of the hat. So again, this is the brim. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to make this big loop. And just stop like that. So that's going to be the front part of our hat. Great. So let me build it out. So I'm going to make another little loop, but just a little bit smaller on the back. Just like this right now. So basically you have this like M shape that we made. Then right here in this little valley, this little dent of these two lines that we made, this M, I'm going to draw a little half circle right there. Now that little half circle that I added, I know I've said this a lot, but it's my favorite part. It's the top of your hat, that little part that like holds it all together. We're going to color that in orange at the end. Great. Okay, so now that we have our hat right here, let's draw Mr. Met's head. So Mr. Met is a baseball, so baseballs are round, right? So we're going to keep the same tradition here. So how I'm going to do it is I'm going to come right here. So in the middle part of this, the brim of the hat right here, I'm going to start right here. I'll put that little mark there just so you can see. And I'm just going to make a circle. Just like that. So as you can see, this is not a perfect circle. It's a drawing. We're having fun. So please don't worry if you don't have a perfect circle or anything. I think it adds a little bit of fun to the drawing when you can see kind of like, you know, the imperfections and things like that. So awesome. All right. So now that we have our Mr. Met head right here, let's go in and let's start to build out his body. So in order to do his body, I'm basically going to make this like big, wide U shape, like the letter U. Let me show you what I mean. So over here on the left, I'm going to start up. I'm going to put my pen down. And I'm going to come down like this. Just like that. So you make kind of this like big U shape on there. So we talked about this on our very first episode, is if you want to make Mr. Met like wider or skinnier or plumper or anything, this is his body. So you can just make it wider or shorter, anything that you like to do. But as you know, I do like myself to have a little plump Mr. Met. I think he looks really cute. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to draw his sleeve right here. So in order to do that, I'm going to come on the left-hand side of my Mr. Met. And basically, I'm going to kind of connect this part of his head to like this bottom part of that body that we made. So it's going to come down like this. I'm going to make that little bit of a shape right there. Great. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come down. I'm going to come up here a little bit and add another little circle just like that. Now we have this kind of a shape on there. So now I'm just going to come down over here. And I'm going to add that little bottom, this little smiley face sign right underneath right there. And that's just the bottom part of his sleeve. Now see this line right here? I'm just going to draw another little line right there. And this is for like decoration on his sleeve. There's like that little, if you see like on the blue uniforms or the home uniforms, they have like that little blue or orange line. And I like to draw that. Great. All right. So now that we have that, I'm going to come up here a little bit. And I'm going to draw his waving hand. So how I'm going to do that, so here's like the tip of the brim of the hat. I'm just going to come up here a little bit more. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw a little circle. Just like that. Nothing too crazy, just a little circle. This is going to be that part of that thumb that we always talk about, that muscle, that part right here. So now that I have that little circle there, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw this little cheese doodle shape to make it look like his thumb. Cool. All right. So now let's get the rest of that hand in there. So basically where that little part, where the little thumb, the sausage part connects to the circle, I'm just going to bring another little kind of circle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tuck it in like this. So it almost looks like we're making a turkey, right? So we have this little turkey kind of shape right there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw his fingers. So like we said before, Mr. Met has 4 fingers. So we're going to keep it like that. So I'm just going to draw these little loops just to make our fingers there. So we have 4 little fingers there. So it kind of looks like a turkey like you would draw on Thanksgiving when you trace your hand on there. Kind of cool, right? So Mr. Met wears a glove. So a good way to draw a glove is to have like that part of the glove, like that little part of where the fabric kind of meets. So I'm just going to draw a little, kind of like a little half circle right there, a little curve, just at the bottom of that glove right there. All right. So now that we don't have this like hand out of nowhere, that doesn't make any sense, right? We're going to connect his sleeve to his glove. So in order to do that, I'm just going to come up from the sleeve part right here, and I'm just going to bring it up like that. So you see we're starting to get something, right? So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to connect another line from the sleeve to the glove, but I'm going to make it look like it's coming behind his head. So he's like, hey, Mr. Met has a really big head and it's hard for him to get his hands out in front of him. So what I mean by that is I'm going to come up from the glove up here. And I'm just going to stop right there. Now, this is up to you. So if you drew your hand out a little more, like more to the left or more to the right or stuff, just think about how you want to have that arm on here. So because mine is here, I'm just going to have it coming behind his head just a little bit. And just for fun, I'm just going to add these little curved lines on both sides of his glove there, just to make it look like he's waving his hand. Pretty cool, right? All right. So now that we've done that, let's go ahead. Let's draw Mr. Met's face on here. So this is basically the face that we're going to be drawing out here. So we're going to do it shape by shape with his nose, his eyes, and his mouth. Let's get to that. So whenever I'm drawing something like this, I always like to go and draw the nose first. The reason I draw the nose first is once I have that there, I know where I can build everything. So if you were to look at your face right now, you have your nose and your eyes are above it and your mouth is below, obviously, right? So what we're going to do is once I have that nose there, I can fix where I'm going to put my eyes and my mouth on Mr. Met. So in order to make his nose, basically I just make like a sideways U shape, very similar to this body we did. So I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to make this like this nose kind of shape. So it's like as if I was to turn a U counterclockwise. So that's going to be our Mr. Met nose on there. So now that we have our nose right there, I'm going to come on the left part of my nose and I'm going to draw this little curved line. Just like that. And again, you can see I stopped right where his nose is. So it looks like his nose is bigger, like it's sticking out. He's got that big nose. Great. So this part here, this is going to be our like eyelid part, like the part of our eyes where Mr. Met's eyes rest. So now let's draw his eyes. So I'm basically going to draw 2 little horseshoes, but like horseshoe shapes upside down. I'm going to draw one right there. And another one like that. And again, just like I did before, that one eye is behind his nose. So I just hide that just a little bit in the back there. Great. So I'm going to draw his like the eyeballs now, the pupils. So Mr. Met's going to be looking right at us. So to do that, I'm just going to draw a circle here. But I'm going to draw them on like the right side of my eyes there. Just like that. This way it looks like he's like looking at the drawer or the viewer, you know? Now that I have those eyeballs there, I'm going to add another little circle on the inside. So it's like his pupils. And then I'm just going to color that in. And I'm just using my black pen here just to fill that in. Great. So now you can see, makes it a little more defined, right? How he's looking at us. So like we did in episode 1, Mr. Met has these like interesting little eyelashes, and they're basically little curves. So you can see, it's kind of hard to see here, but you see those like little curves on the side? We're going to do the same thing. Pardon me. So basically, I'm going to start on my left eye, and I'm just going to come up and make this little bump. Just a little bump shape. See that? Great. And I'm going to do the same thing on the right. Just a little bump. it's just this cute little bump there to show off his eyelashes a little bit. And then I'm just going to fill those in just so you guys can see him a little better. Great. So Mr. Met has some eyebrows, right? So to make an eyebrow, I'm basically going to make like a comma. You guys know a comma when you're like writing a sentence or something? So there's those commas at the top. And now I'm just going to fill those in. And again, that's just so you can see them. Great. All right. So now that we have his eyes and his nose, let's go ahead and let's add his mouth. So to draw his mouth, what I do is I'm going to come underneath his nose here. Now I'm just going to draw a line coming up like this. So you have this like upward smile line, right? Just like Mr. Met, he's happy to be driving that golf cart. And then for me, I like to add this little bump on the end of that. That little bump on the left. Do you see that? Where I'm pointing at right there? I like that. That basically signifies like Mr. Met's lips, like the top lip. Let's go ahead and let's draw that bottom lip. So in order to do that, what I first do is I draw these two little curved lines on the left. Just like that. Now, the reason that I draw those lines is it makes it look like Mr. Met's mouth is more 3D, like he's opening his mouth like, ah. So you can have that, it looks like the side of his mouth. Now that I have his top lip and the inside of his mouth on the side, I'm going to come up and I'm going to draw another shape down here. Just like that. So you can see we're starting to get something. Now, with that bottom lip, same thing as I did on the top, I'm going to pull that a little bit and add like that little bump. That gives it those lips right there. Then just for detail, I'm going to draw another little curved line right underneath the bottom part of his lip right there to kind of give it a little definition. Great. So now what we'll do, let's draw another half circle on the inside of his mouth right there. Just like that. So that's his tongue, right? So now that I have that, I'm just going to color in that shape right here, just so you can see a little clearer what I'm doing. Great, right? This drawing's really fun. All right, so then add a little style here. I'm going to put another little curve, little rainbow shape up there, right above the part of his mouth right there. And I do that so it looks like Mr. Met's really smiling, like, yeah, he's pulling up his cheeks. Great. So now, just to pull off that baseball look, we're going to draw the stitches in the baseball. So what I do is I'm going to come over here on the right, and I'm just going to draw the squiggly line that comes down like this. So just like this right here. And as you can see, it's really similar to the inside shape that we made of the brim of the hat, that first line we made. We just turned it around a little bit. Great. All right, so now we're going to add like the stitching, like that red part in the baseball. And to do that, what I do is I draw these little sausage links. So just like that, you can see them coming on there on the left. And I'm going to do those little half sausage links all the way across. And once you have those, I'm going to make the same shape on the other side, but flip the other way. Just like this. So that way you can see what I'm doing. So it's kind of like I'm making these arrow shapes that are going up. This is a really good technique if you're just going to be drawing baseballs. You know, you can always just kind of pop those out and you got it. Great. All right, so we're doing pretty good right now. We got like this like half Mr. Met kind of hanging out. So what we're going to do now is we're going to jump ahead a little bit. We're going to leave Mr. Met for a second, and let's start to build out his golf cart, his bullpen cart. Pardon me. All right. So here what we're going to do is I'm going to come down, and we're going to make like this big kind of like a bum shape. So bear with me for a second because I'm going to draw it first. This way you can see what I mean. So I'm going to, so here's his belly. And I want my cart to come down to like right about here. So I'm just going to make that line right here, just so you can see where I'm starting. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pen and I'm going to come up. I'm going to twist around. And I'm going to come like that. So if you guys like comic books, this is like a comic book word bubble. You know, when like your favorite character says something, it's kind of like that. We just made this like little front part of our golf cart right there. Great. All right, so now that we have that front part of that golf cart, let's draw some wheels. So a wheel, I'm going to draw my first wheel right here. And I'm just going to make a big circle right where I stopped at that front part of the bullpen cart. Do you see that big circle right there? And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take like another, like a half circle in a way, and I'm going to put it on the inside of this wheel here, this circle. Let me show you what I mean. So here's like the middle part of the circle, right? I'm just going to come over a little bit, and I'm just going to make this shape. And again, this is just like a 3D kind of adding thing. So it looks like the tread of the tire. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw another little circle on the inside of that circle. And then I'm going to draw another one on the inside of that circle. Say that 10 times fast, right? Great. So you can see we kind of have this like wheel. It's almost like a donut. All right. So now that that's the front wheel, I'm going to draw another wheel back here, but a little bit smaller. So it looks like his golf cart's like shaped like it's coming out, you know? Let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to come down here now. I'm going to draw the same shape, but just like a little bit smaller in the back right there. So just like I did this one, I'm going to draw this one too. And I'll walk you through step by step too, again, in case you forgot. So now that we have our smaller wheel here, I'm going to come to the middle of my wheel. I'm going to make this little curved line just like that. So that's the tread of our tire, the part that actually touches the road, or the warning track in our case. Then I'm going to draw another little circle in the middle of that circle. Gives it our donut hole, right? Then let's go in there again. I'm going to draw another little circle in that circle. Great. So you can see now we're starting to get something, right? We have like the two wheels on this side of the cart. So there's not only wheels on this side, right? Otherwise the cart would just tip over. So I'm going to draw one wheel right here because that's the only one we're going to be able to see based on the way we have our cart laid out. So I'm here. I'm just going to draw like another little half circle. Just like right here. This way it looks like the cart is rolling, right? And then this one's a little different than these two. So I'm still going to draw that like half circle right there. But that's it. I'm not going to draw the insides right there. And that's because the way that my cart is laid out, you really wouldn't be able to see this that much. Cool. Now what I'm going to do is let's start to build out that golf cart. So now I'm going to come over here to this wheel, that back wheel that we made. And I'm basically going to make a curved line that comes up and kind of goes into his armpit a little bit. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to come up. Just like that. So it's almost like Mr. Met's in a roller coaster or something, right? Great. All right. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and we're going to make the hat, the top part of our bullpen cart right there. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do, again, we'll do it step by step together. I'm going to draw the brim of his hat and then build the top of his hat, kind of like we did here with this hat at the very beginning part of our drawing. So I'm going to come over to Mr. Met's hat, like right here. And let me show you what I'm going to do first. I'm going to make it like a curved line. So I'm going to come down and I'm going to come up and I'm going to have this shape right there. You can see this shape here is very common in the way I draw. Just like the brim of the hat, you know, just like we did with the stitches. All right. So now that we made this shape right here, I'm going to come right here and I'm going to put a little line just coming down a little bit right there. And you're going to see why I made that line in a second. So now that we have that right there, I'm basically going to draw the same line that I drew here, but below it. So I'm going to come down again, down, up, and I'm going to stop. right where we drew that little line before, right? Great. So let me fold my paper a little bit so you can see it better. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties on the paper. That's all right. We're having fun. There we go. A little easier to see, right? Cool. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add, the best way I can say is I'm just going to add this like line. Just like right here. Now, the reason I put this line here is this is just a good way to see like where the brim of the hat meets the top of the hat. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little bit of space on the right, and I'm just going to draw a line that connects just like this. Can you guys see that? So here's that line we made at first. I put a little bit of a space, and then I just make another line that connects right to here. All right. So now that we got the brim of the hat, let's come across and let's make the top of that hat. So this is going to be a fun shape we're going to make. So I'm going to come over to this part of Mr. Met, like that brim of that hat we made. And I'm going to come up and I'll make a big rainbow shape that comes across and ends like that. So you got to commit with this one. It's the best advice I can give. So again, what we're doing is we're just going to start over on this brim of the hat. We're going to come up, make like a big rainbow shape, and then we're going to stop right there. So you can see now it kind of looks like a hat more, right? Then, like I said, I love those little orange dots at the top of your cap. I'm going to draw another one up here. So I just added that little top at that. That'll be really fun to color later, right there on the top. All right. So we're getting somewhere. We're almost there. So now on my original drawing that I made, you can see that we have these baseball bats that are holding up the top part of the cart. Better stability while he's driving around. So let's draw baseball bats on here. So I wouldn't say that these are, perfect for any league, but it's going to look good in our drawing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just draw this little oval shape down there. And that's going to be the bottom part of our bat. So now, a baseball bat, like when you hold the part that you grip, it's thinner towards the bottom and it gets wider to the top. So I'm going to draw that like this. But let me show you how I do it. So we're going to make another squiggly line like we did the other ones. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come down at the bottom and I'm going to like bend in. And as I come up, I'm going to widen that line. Just like that. So you can see it like kind of comes in a little bit and then widens out at the top. And now that you have that line, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, but opposite. So I'm going to, again, thin, and then I'm going to come in like this. So, I mean, it's a baseball bat in a way, It looks like those red ones you had when you were a kid, you like play out in the front yard. Just like that. So again, the point is that we want it to be a little thinner at the bottom and wider to the top. Okay, great. Let's do the same thing over here. So same thing. I'm just going to come over to the left a little bit. I'm going to draw another one of those little ovals. And then just like we did before, we're going to make another bat. So remember, it's like thin at the bottom. It gets a little wider at the top there. See what I mean? Great. Let's do the same thing again, but on the other side. So again, we're going to go in. We're going to come in at the top there. So now we have these two bats. This is so fun. Now, if you really want to personalize it, you can write like Pete Alonso or whatever, home run king, all that stuff in the bats if you want. But I'm not going to do that, but you're welcome to do that. Great. So now what we're going to do, now that we have that, let's go ahead and let's add Mr. Met's hand in here. So we're going to draw this part right here. So you can see we have Mr. Met. He looks like he's like driving the cart. So in order to do that, what we're going to do is I'm going to make some of these little cheese doodle shapes like we did with his fingers up here. So again, don't worry. I'm going to walk you through step by step how to do that. So first, like right there, I'm going to draw like this little sausage shape, little cheese doodle right there. That's going to be one of his fingers. And I'm going to draw two more of these shapes. So we're going to have 3 in total. Just like that. So it's like you lined up all those cheese doodles together. They fit inside each other. Great. So now I'm going to draw another shape, but this is going to be the thumb. So it's going to come up a little bit. So something like that. So like if you were to draw like a chicken leg, like a cartoon chicken leg, I drew right there. So it comes up just a bit. All right. So now what we'll do, let's go ahead. Let's draw like the steering wheel of his cart. So Mr. Met's hand here is laying on the steering wheel, right? So what I'm going to do, let me show you what I'm going to do first. I'm going to come up with this little circle. I'm going to come just like that. So I made that like rainbow shape. So that's just the top part of our steering wheel. Now I'm going to basically follow the same line that I made here, right underneath it. I'm going to come down, stop when I get to the fingers, and then come down again. So now you can see Mr. Mitt's like, he's having a good time. He's driving. All right. So now, if you're looking like the steering wheel, there's like that middle part that holds it all together. And right underneath his fingers here, I'm going to draw another little half circle. Just like that. You can see it's like a little rainbow in the middle. Rainbow's my favorite analogy. As you can tell, it just goes down, bends up, and comes right down there. All right. Great. So now, we're going to come back to Mr. Met here. We're going to draw his arm in there. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw his sleeve. So on the right part of our Mr. Met body right here, this part, I'm going to kind of come right into the bend part of our body here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw like another little curved line. And I'm going to draw it down here. And it's going to come up. And I'm going to stop when I get to our baseball bat. Just like that. So this is like the inside of his sleeve, like that part of your shirt that just where your arm pops out. So now I'm going to come up to his head here. I'm going to draw another little curved line that comes up just a little bit, just like that at the top there. So that's kind of like Mr. Met's shoulder in a way. So now I'm going to come on the bottom here, draw another little line that kind of curves up just a little bit. But what I'm going to do here, as you can see, I'm not going to connect this line to anything. It's just on the bottom. It's coming up like a smiley face, and I'm going to leave a little space there just to give more of like a 3D detail to our arm. All right, so now that we have that, I'm just going to draw a line in here, just like this. Just these 2 lines. So I have one here that's connecting from here to the baseball bat, and then another line at the top that comes down a bit. So it's like Mr. Met's arm. All right, so we're almost done there. So now what we'll do is I'm going to come down here and we're going to draw his belt. So I'm going to draw the belt. So this is like the bottom part of the belt right here. I'm going to draw the belt up top. So first, let's draw our belt loop. So here's his tummy. I'm going to come up. I'm going to draw a square. A little rectangle, right? Just like that. So we have this little rectangle for his belt buckle. And let's draw the same thing on the inside. So just a little smaller version of it to give it more of the illusion of a belt buckle. Right? Great. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the belt buckle on the right to up to this corner on the right, and the same thing on the left. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to come up. And I'm going to make these lines just like that right there. So basically you can see I made the same shape here with just up a bit with that belt buckle in the middle. All right. So I still haven't learned the name of the term for this on your pants, but it's the part of your pants that your belt goes through to hold it up. So in order to make that, I'm just going to make some little rectangles on the side. I'm going to put 2 on the left. You can see I just made 2 lines up and 2 over here, little rectangles. And I'm going to add 1 on the right, just like that. So it looks like his pants are being held up. I'm just going to color that in there. Yeah, so you can color this in any color you want. I'm just going to use the ink, the black ink that I have here, just so you guys can see a little bit better on your computer screens or your TVs. All right. So now that we have the layout of pretty much everything, let's go in and add a little bit of detail. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to make Mr. Met's legs. So I'm going to come over here on the left, right here, on this part of our belt. And I'm just going to make this curved line that comes in and connects like that. So it looks like Mr. Met's hanging out. He's so excited to see you. It's been a while. Great. So now that we have that here, let's add another couple little details here. So remember this point where we started right here? I'm going to come down. I'm going to make a little line like this. Just a little line right here. That connects from where we started that belt pen all the way to the wheel here. So this is going to be like the side of his bullpen cart. Now I'm going to take the same thing. I'm going to draw it on the outside of it. So I'm coming over to the left. And I just drew another little line, but I made it a little thinner. So it looks like you can, basically like the side of it, right? Where you can step in and out. Great. Okay, let's come in the front and let's draw some stitches and some headlights in our bullpen cart, like we did with this one. So for the headlights, you can put these wherever you want, but if you want to follow along, I'm just going to draw a circle here. And I'm going to draw another circle up here. So I made mine a little diagonal, so it kind of gives it like a fun shape. So now that I did that, let's do it again, but inside. So I'm drawing another little baby circle on the inside there. And another one like that. Pretty cool, right? So we have our little headlights. So now on the left side of our headlights that we made, I'm going to make this like little bump shape on either side of it right there. Can you see what I mean? So we drew the circles, and then on the left, I drew this like little bump. So that just gives it a little 3D pop. All right. So we're going to make our bullpen cart look like a baseball. So remember when we drew our stitches up here with that line and those like triangle shapes, those little bumps? We do the same thing over here. So I'm going to come over to the left part of my bullpen cart. Make a line like this. Great, right? And then I'm going to draw those shapes coming down. But this time, I want them to look like the arrows are going down for the stitches. Do you see what I mean? So I'm having them like facing going down. And I'll keep doing that. So I usually do this one side. And then I'm going to draw the same shape, but on the other way. Like a reflection of it. You see what I mean? For the stitches. So it's the same shape, but just a reflection of it, as if you were holding it in the mirror, right? Come up, down. Great. So now I'm going to come over on the right side. I'll make the same shape again, that little squiggly line, a little bit smaller. And kind of hit like the side of our golf cart right there, bullpen cart. So now I'm going to have, so imagine like the stitches are going like this. They're going down and around, and they're going to come back up. So I'm going to do the same thing, but my arrows now, or my stitches, I'm going to draw them the other way so they look like they're coming up. Like that, right? Great. And I'm just going to fill it on the other end too. Cool. So we have our stitches right there. All right. So now I'm going to come in the back. So this is the front part of the cart. And you can see in the back here, this is the back part, like the trunk. I'm going to draw another one of those. I'm going to draw like this half circle that bends in. And I'm not going to put it right into Mr. Met's armpit. I think it would give like a weird shape, but just like this. You can see that little curved line. And then I'm going to draw some more stitches like we did before. It's up to you. I'm going to have mine going up a little bit. Just like that, right? This will be cool. So it's fun because like by adding these stitches in the back, you'll be able to see more of like the cart. Awesome. So I'll give you guys a second to catch up. So in the meantime, please feel free to let me know where you guys are drawn from today. It's always fun to have, I think last week, man, we had people from Milan, which was pretty awesome. People from Australia, Japan, all over the world. So it's fun to see where everybody's drawn from. All right. So now what we're going to do to close out our drawing is we're going to draw like the inner part of our bullpen card here. So you can see like basically these black shapes. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw like the side of the bullpen card. So it looks like he's sitting in it. So in order to do that, I'm going to come up here to the top. I'm going to make this like curved line coming down. Just like that. Just curved line right here. And I'm going to stop at the steering wheel. Coming down from the top, curve my way down. So now I'm going to draw the same line, but on the left. So give myself a little space. I'm going to come down just like this. Great. So now you can see I have that line coming down like that. And then another one right up there. All right. So then at the top here, I'm basically going to connect this part of the hat to this part. So I'm going to make a line that stops right at the baseball bat, and then another line right here. So you can see those lines right there, right? Right there and there. And I'm just going to fill those in, just so you guys can see them. Great, just like that. All right. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to draw this line from his shoulder, like basically like the back part of the shoulder. I'm going to draw a line like this, kind of connecting it a bit. Just the line, nothing too crazy. And then I'm going to come down, make like a 90-degree angle. I don't know if you guys have learned that in school yet. Like just down and down. So this is supposed to look like the seat. And it'll make a little bit more sense in a second. So now that we have that seat, I'm going to come back here and I'm going to draw, let me show you the shape first. Basically, kind of like this like rounded oval shape. So I'm going to come from his head. I'm going to draw a line that connects from his head to the baseball bat. Then on here, I'm going to make a little curved line, like a little bump on this side of the baseball bat to that side of the baseball bat. I'm going to come around and I'm going to make another line that connects this baseball bat to this head. Now, this is the window in the back of the cart. So now that we have that window here, I'm just going to draw another little shape like this. You can see right here. So what I did is I took it from the head and I connected to the baseball bat just on top of that shape. And then I followed this shape at the bottom here. So again, just a little shape that comes up a little bit. And that's just supposed to be the window part. So now I'm just going to fill this in real quick, just so you guys can see what the whole point of that shape making was. So you guys can fill this in with the black ink or your marker or your pencil if you want, or you could also color it in whatever color you want, like a blue or an orange or something. So again, so what I did is when you color this in later, you want the back. So like, remember, like this is the seat here. That white part is the seat. This is just the back. And then I'm going to leave this spot here so you can see where the window is. All right. So now I'm going to do is I'm going to write Mets on his jersey here. And you can write whatever you want here. You can write New York. You can write Herm. It's so cool. You could write New Jersey. It doesn't matter. Anything you want. But I'm going to draw my Mets script font right here. And I'm just going to draw that in there because this is like a self part. You can decide what you want to write right here. But if you want to follow what I'm drawing, I'm writing Mets in like a cursive or a script kind of font. And the big thing here is I just make it like a bubble letter. Just like that. And then I'm just going to like make this like little glow, little heavenly glow around the outside of it. Nothing too important. I'm just adding this little bit of bump on the outside there, so it makes more fun when I color. This is fun. So while you guys, at your home, if you got nothing going on, if you want to practice this like type of font, this lettering, I recommend pulling out maybe a Mets hat or a jersey or something, and you can just kind of copy it and draw that. And just, honestly, the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. All right, so now that we have that, I'm going to draw a line from the belt buckle up. I'm going to stop at the Mets logo and draw like that. Just like this right here, just to give it the illusion of Mr. Mets shirt tucked in. And then for fun, I'll add another little one on the side there on the right. You all know I love detail, so that just gives a little fun line. So I just put another little line right there. Great. All right, so now we have Mr. Met in our golf cart. Pretty cool baseball cart, right? I keep saying that, bullpen cart, goodness gracious. So the last thing we're gonna do is I'm just gonna draw a big NY right here for our New York Mets. So you guys can add that in right there. So if you look, it's an N for New York and then the Y for New York, obviously, right? So the main thing it is when you're drawing the New York Mets logo in there, remember that they have like those little feet on the ends of the N and the Y. So that's how I draw it. So you can kind of see the N and the Y. This might be better to do with a pencil. If you're doing this with a pencil, I would draw an N, so big N, up, down, up. So that'll be your N. And then your Y will be right here. So you draw up, and then your curve of your Y. And then remember those little feet on the end. And then when you have your marker, you can just like leave those spaces in there. All right. So the last thing I'll do is I'm going to add these lines in the back right here. So it looks like Mr. Met's, blazing by. Pew! So I'm just going to draw some like lines just like this. Some like little curved diagonal lines on the left-hand side right here. That's up to you if you want to do it. I like it so it looks like he's like driving, going fast towards us. Oh, silly me. I forgot to put the NY in his hat. I'm sorry, I hit my phone. So this, I'm just going to draw just like I showed you before. We draw that N. You can see that N right there. And then the Y. So that's our Met logo. And then I'm going to draw those little feet on there. All right. So we finished it. We just drew Mr. Met in a bullpen cart. So I'm really excited to see how you guys did with this. So while I'm talking here, and if you guys are still around, I'm just going to take some crayons and I'm just going to like color it in just for fun. So I'm just throwing that in on there. So while you're doing this, I just wanted to say how awesome it was to draw with you guys today. Really enjoy it. It is the highlight of my week. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to be doing these drawing classes on Wednesdays and Fridays at the same time at noon. And we're going to be doing them live like we did today. But don't worry if you can't make it on that day if you have school. Not school, but if you have to watch something or you got to do something, you can watch these anytime on YouTube or any of the other 7-Line social media platforms on there. So you can just kind of fill that in there too. Now, I'll let you guys keep coloring on there because I know we've been taking a while. But what I always like to say is when you're done coloring, it's great to sign your artwork and to date it. So on the bottom right here is usually the most classic spot to do it. So I'm just going to sign my name. Herm. I like to draw these little smiley faces there. And then it's good to date your drawing. So what is today? The 8th, right? So I'm going to write 4/8/2020. Now, the reason what's really good about dating your drawings is that the more you draw, like if you drew this over and over, it's going to get better and better. Practice makes perfect, right? So it's really fun. You can look at the date the first time and see how much better you've gotten overall with that. But yeah, awesome, guys. So again, I'll let you keep coloring on that there. But it was awesome to draw with you guys. It was amazing. Thanks so much for drawing with me. You guys are better than best. I know I say that every week, but I mean it. With every freckle on my body there, all over my arms, look at that. Anyway, so Please let us see how you did. I really want to see. So you can tag me on Instagram at Herm Herman. That's the best spot. I love Instagram. And on Twitter, you can reach me at Herm's Terms. And then, of course, make sure you tag the 7 Line. And that's the same on Instagram or Twitter. And basically, what we're going to do is we're going to pick 3 of our favorite drawings, not our favorite, but ones that we thought did a really good job, and we're going to give them a $10 7 Line gift card, which is cool. So make sure to put that in the comments of your Facebook or Instagram and so forth. And if you wanted to see a little bit more about me, you can visit my website at hermsterms.com. You can see some of the other work I've done, and there's a couple of times I've done some of the baseball game drawings at Fenway Park and things like that. So anyway, enough about me. It's all about you. Thank you again. Have a great down, guys, and show me, let us know how you're doing, and we'll see you on Friday at the same time, okay? All right, guys, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.